Content warning. This recording contains references to suicide, mental health issues, and addiction. If you or someone you know is struggling, please seek help from a local crisis support center. Welcome to True Colors with Mark Reciolielli.
I am here. This would be episode 6 or 7, I believe. This is a something that started 7-8 months ago. This is a journey that, through a lot of reflection and a lot of fighting imposter syndrome, fighting why me, this is my ability to take what I've been given and help share it. And when I heard it that way, and I think of it that way, I think of it as a gift, because I've been given those gifts. So when I think about that, the ego falls to the side, because I'm not here to say this is what I've done, look at me. I'm here to say, look what I've been given, and it's possible. And I think when I change that mindset, those that truly know me understand that I've wore a mask for decades and now have no shame and guilt sharing what I've been given to heal, and sharing a little pieces of my story, whether it's addiction, people pleasing, generational, religious, however it comes out. There's parts of us that need connection in this world, and I recognize that. And if this is any piece of the puzzle that I can help others with, then I'm more than willing to do it. But I also feel I can help myself in the process, even just going through this setup, walking with producer, tech extraordinaire, media creator Norm, and dog walking and chatting, and that's how we ended up here. And I don't think that's an accident either. I believe if we're open and willing to new opportunities, new doors, and stop looking at the ones that are closed, we'll find a new purpose, a new path, and a future that, for me, I never would have drawn up, and it would have been quite scary to think about if someone had told me 10 years ago. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I needed to hit my bottom. I needed to accept where I was in the world and not keep trying to fight to stay where I used to be, because where I was staying, I didn't love that guy. I didn't love that life. I was falling fast, and although the lifeboats were there, I kept waiting for a bigger, better, nicer one. And I feel so very fortunate that I've been isolated. I've been healing through several modalities, and having a faith, having something to believe in that I'd given up on at the paramount of that. And I stopped worrying about saying the wrong thing every single day, not just on a camera, and more worried about saying the message that needs to be heard, because I believe that's something the world needs to do. The veil needs to come off. The truth, we can't give 90% and wonder why we're not fully connecting. We need to be open, honest. I joke about dating. If I was to date or go on a dating app, which I have used, full disclosure, and my dating app would look something like this, or read. It would be former firefighter, 3 years sober, studying for some type of ministry, speaking open publicly about mental health. It would be so brutally honest. And I had a friend say to me when I joked with him, you're going to lose 99%. And I turned to him and I said, but it's the 1% that I want. So I don't need dating. I don't need to puff out my chest and give the highlights of why I want people to think of what I did as who I am, because that's not the case. Who I am is what I'm unveiling, manifesting every day now. And there's moments where it's scary. There's moments where I have to slow down. There's moments where I have to pause and reflect and say, okay, my purpose today was to do this, but mental health has said otherwise. So then I listen to my body. And I've believed when I say now I'm a 52-year-old man that shouldn't need to do X, Y, and Z. He shouldn't need to do breath work, cold exposure, journaling. Now I look at it and say, I'm a 52-year-old man who's been given the skills of things that are beautiful and healing. I get to do those things. And I don't look at them as punishment. I look at them as little pieces of the toolkit for me that help me be grounded. And it holds me accountable to me, because I used to get quickly easy at anyone else in the room, especially at God, about why I'm frustrated, why I'm angry, why am I... It's someone else's fault as to why I'm frustrated and angry. Not dealing with emotions, deflecting emotions was my forte. Now I embrace emotions, not the good, not all the pleasant, not all the beautiful ones, the ones that we're scared of. We learn from those. When we suppress, we deflect, those come back bigger, badder later, and maybe with a friend. Maybe there's a few emotions that come at once. So if I learn not to stuff it down, but to deal with it and to embrace it, and sometimes we have to sit with it. That's when these emotions will come up, and if it's tears, we'll say, okay, I'll just do this, or I'll turn this off, or I'll stop looking at what's making me sad, rather than saying, but why is it making you sad? Embrace that. And when I did that with anger, and doing it on the positive side as well, I've heard a quote lately that said, grief is love with no place to go. And when I hear that, I embrace that and say, well, I have to find a place for it to go, or else it's going to continue to hold in my body. My body has felt enough, and I'm trying to continue to respect that it's been through a lot. So I treat this as a temple, that it's been my one body for my life here. And I give it the best I can. And if I can look at myself in the mirror, and I have a tile in my bathroom and one in my back study that says, we don't find our life, we create it. And I believe that wholeheartedly. We every day can say, okay, I've had 10 minutes of just horrible things. The train stopped us, the traffic stopped, and the train was longer, and I can get frustrated and angry. And all I did was hold that and become this hot top. Now, wherever I go, I come in with this emotion and I want to share it with the room. Now I recognize, okay, a train means I have time to send that email. That means I have time to call someone. I can sometimes pull the car over, put the Bluetooth in, and go for a walk. Use that as found time rather than some kind of detriment. I also heard a story once saying that if our higher power, God's got our back, they showed a family racing to get to Christmas dinner, and they're so late, and they're so upset with each other, and they're getting angry in the car. But meanwhile, the place they were going, they're running behind, and they're getting upset with each other. If both people could understand, you're actually right where you're supposed to be. Just take a breath. You'll be fine. People will understand. I don't make apologies for if I'm 4 minutes late. I'm recognizing that for a long period of my life, in a chapter of my book, of life, I didn't make it there. So if I'm showing up late, isn't that an answered prayer? Isn't that the progress I'm looking for. And then next year, try and better that, rather than saying, man, again, I should be better than this. It's not respecting my whole day, my whole life of all the things I need to do, decades of coping, decades of stuffing down, and also being able to use substance as a way to calm the central nervous, to calm the brain for a brief period of time. But what I found, that also doesn't answer, it doesn't go away. It comes back the next day with a little shame and guilt. It doesn't come by and say, okay, thanks for having that bottle of wine last night. Now we forgot all about why we were upset. It adds to the to-do list of resentments and emotions that come up. I feel so very fortunate, and today I'm very fortunate to interview someone who I quite inspired by. She's a mentor for me. She's also my social work neurofeedback, and also a psychotherapist, but she's lives authentically. She's I really hope, I know people will really enjoy her interview. I'm just speaking to maybe my old self, any doubt that lies in any crevice in my mind, saying, what are you doing here? And why do you think you're entitled to be here? And I say that to anyone who may need to hear that in their own life. I think the big word that I love, and I wish I had a t-shirt, willing. That's simply it. If more people were willing to speak truth, more willing to embrace some of their callings, more willing to be, if they're drawn into the arts or music or media, if they were willing to take a step out of their conformed, very familiar, comfortable life and say, I really wanted to. I always wanted to play the drums, or I wanted to sing. That was me. It is me. And no, I'm not going to go into a verse, but I am not afraid to sing. Jordan, as I'll mention in her interview, is an incredible vocalist. Very healing. Also, we don't have to sing on stage at Canadian Idol or American Idol. We can do it in the shower. We can do it in front of our dogs. We can do it just so our neighbors hear us, whatever it may be. But that gives us, that's a relief valve. That's something I've recognized. If I'm unafraid to sing out the back of my house and not worry about other people's judgment, that's a form of bravery that I never anticipated walking into. I used to worry about what I said in front of neighbors or how I looked, rather than being who I was. And I look at that now as performance. I look at that as image management. I look at that as I wasn't being truly who I was. And maybe after several drinks, I could sing, or at least attempt to. But why not be brave enough to try and do that without it? And the gift of sobriety is said in a lot of rooms, and I am a walking testament in my own life for that. I will continue to share what sobriety has given me. I also mentioned to people, it's not completely my fault. People will look at my circumstances, my marriage, my miscarriage, deaths, which we all have, first responding. I wore a mask for decades. But when I add those on that list, the only common denominator is me. And that makes it my responsibility. And if I keep thinking I have to, I have to go to therapy, I have to go to breath work, it becomes part of a job. When I say I get to, it becomes part of a choice of I've felt what this can do and I want more of it. The medicine of the natural dopamines, the serotonins, the beautiful releases of things. Without chemicals in my body and managing better than ever the way I eat, I'm more in tune to feeling things, both good and bad, at such a deeper level. And that is a blessing as well, because it keeps me present in rooms. It allows me to be more aware of my body, but it also allows me to be a more empathetic friend, a friend that can listen better without trying to fix things. If someone just needs to talk, I can listen. I'm not where I want to be, but again, progress is my goal. Recognizing I've come a long way. And I love the saying that the person that loves the journey over the destination will win every time. Because if we keep looking for a finish line, thinking there's going to be some kind of reward, validation, I think of in sobriety, someone hits a 1-year mark and they've emphasized that so strongly, and it's a very impressive landmark. But then there's set up for kind of that hangover. There's a setup for a letdown, because that was not the goal. The goal was abstinence. When you celebrate, not recognize, I think recognizing is important. If we picture the mountain, we haven't reached the top. We've just reached a pivotal point. Stop, take a breath, and have a look around and look what you've done. But recognize, now we have all these skills. We have a community, a network, friends, maybe a new partner. We have things to do to help us climb the rest of the way. And that's where we kind of journal that out. Take an inventory, as we say, of what I have, what I can do better. It's when we stop, or we start taking shortcuts, or we start saying I don't need to, or I and not saying I get to, we make ourselves susceptible, very vulnerable to old habits. Because when life gets lifey, and it does, we will fall to that level of training, right? We don't fall to the level of our expectations. That's where I've shared in a speech just this week. A mentor, a sponsor, is AA's version of an insurance policy. But you need someone who will stand up against you at your ugliest, your most angry, the worst version of you is what you need them for. So we don't need someone who's going to be kind. We need someone who's got our back to the level when we don't have our own. We need someone who says, hey, brother Mark, I know you say you're doing these things, but you seem to be off from where you were just 3 months ago. And when I recognized that, and when I reset my date just almost a year ago, not because I drank, I haven't drank alcohol in 3 years. That's still there. I became rigorously honest, as what it says in literature. And that's the most important part. I took a part of my defense that showed vulnerability and I shored it up the best I could at the time. And if I continue to do that in my life, as I grow and heal, some people will fall away, but I'll attract the right people. I'll attract the right timing. I've learned to be more patient. I've learned that no is a full sentence. I've learned so much from my two furry angels, Barkley and Petunia, both in retraining Barkley, and also not rushing Petunia on a walk. She's taught me more about loyalty and patience and kindness. And when I read a piece of literature that said, who's the walk for? If I'm pulling her, trying to get back to what I want to do, all the beautiful things I talk about my dogs, can I not give them 20 minutes for just them? Can I not give them 20 minutes to hang out with Iris and other dogs? Absolutely. And there's days where I don't have the time. But if I don't have a good reason, that's the very least I can do for them. So I am appreciative for anybody that speaks openly about their journeys. I appreciate everyone in my life that's helped support me to get me to here. Family, friends, people I barely know, communities, fellowship, first responding recovery groups, deputy chiefs, union, WSIB case managers. There's things that I never thought I would think. My dogs, my neighbors, my ability to be okay not being okay. As there's days where I start doing a little too much in a 2 or 3 day window, and I wonder why. That fourth day is a struggle. So I don't think, okay, well, I'm going backwards. It's more a pause to move forward. It's catching my breath, recognizing, keeping my body, my brain, and my spiritual mental side all in alignment together, not moving because the body wants to, because it comes at the cost of the brain. My brain can show up, and there's times where I have to. It's a funeral and so on. But my greatest skill has been my openness. If I'm anxious, I tell people I'm anxious. If I'm out of my window of tolerance, I tell people that. If they don't know what that is, I explain. Instead of projecting on people, or people wondering, well, why is Mark grumpy? Or why does Mark look angry? I tell them. Or if they ask, I don't lie. I don't like using the word fine any longer. So I'm very, very fortunate, and I thank you for all your comments. I take anything to help, any ideas for what can better serve a community, families, first responders, people in recovery. I send much love and gratitude to all of you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been an honor. God bless.
You've been listening to True Colors with Mark Reciolielli. Executive production by Mr. Norm Media Productions.